I'm so hot. I mean, if you're wearing pants doing this job, are you really doing this job? Okay. Oh, the illusion of being so poised. What is up, guys? Welcome back. This is a hilarious concept for a video. It might not seem like it to you, but I've been getting a lot of requests to review Undone Beauty, and I keep telling people, I reviewed Undone Beauty 2 years ago, almost to the day. It's been a few weeks since it was 2 years ago, but why in the heck would anyone know that? I had like no subscribers back then. Why are you gonna go hunt down one of my very poorly produced videos where probably the audio is awful and everything's way oversaturated and I'm a different person, and take my advice from back then? Who knows? I didn't go rewatch it. I don't know what I thought about this stuff. The title of the video is like, you know, Budget Glossier or something, which is kind of how I see this brand regardless, so I don't think that that's spoiling anything about how I ended up feeling about it. But what did your girl do in 2021? She went and rebought all of it. And we're gonna do like a second first impressions 2 years later of Undone Beauty. I picked up the Undone Unfoundation Glow Tint. I was maybe happy, but like not that surprised to see that nothing had changed about this brand in the last 2 years. Like, these are the exact same products, I think, that I reviewed the last time with. I think that they came out with like an eyeshadow palette. I could be wrong, this might have already existed. So I also picked up their Under Over powder. I got a new thing of their Conceal to Reveal palette. This is their skin finish lightweight Glossier stretch concealer type concealer situation. I got their blush in Poppy. I got this eyeshadow palette that is a 3-in-1 eye palette in the shade Royalty, which I think is kind of funny because I'm pretty sure I just ordered something that looks very much like this from Curewise. Yo, by the way, I said that I was gonna be well by now in the video that just came out like yesterday. False. I am still on Dayquil. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, yeah, this will probably be able to compare to the Curewise one when it comes. And I also got the Undone Light On Lip in Gosh Garnet, which I just could not resist because what a hilarious pun. Gosh Garnet. Come on, that's funny. And then, you know, not that it has anything to do with Undone Beauty, but where did she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? Everything becomes a song when you have a baby. The Blink Ultra Volume Tubing Mascara. Blink just sent me this yesterday, okay? Why is my hand shaking? Are we okay? I ate breakfast, but I also had 2 cups of coffee and a dose of Dayquil, so. They have poised this as, we may have just invented the perfect mascara. So you guys will see me experience it for the first time. So I'm gonna move y'all in. My intros just keep getting longer and longer, don't they? Anyway, let's put some makeup on my face. So, starting with the Undone Unfoundation Glow Tint, designed and distributed. I got it in the shade Light Coverage. I got it in the shade, I guess I took it off the bottle. Yep, that's a skin tint. Well, that's exciting. So, yes, this is an affordable line. Pretty sure you can get it at Target. Feels really nice. Feels really nice. And you can get it on Amazon. I don't know why they don't have a beauty section called Glamazon. Come on, guys. Ooh. Do you ever just feel like someone is extruding you through one of those Play-Doh pasta dies? And that's your life? Me neither. What the hell are you talking about? So that has kind of like a makeup-y smell. Like an interestingly makeup-y smell, like kind of noticeably. Interesting. Is it interesting? I actually don't know. My husband yesterday told me that I'm cute when I'm sick. And I said, I'm not cute when I'm sick. And he goes, well, you dress really cute when you're sick. And I said, it's called overcompensating. So this is their concealer situation. And I believe that it's separated into these 3 pans, which by the way, give me the goosebumps. If I touch that little metal sheet that is in between there, ugh, if I had fillings, they would want to rattle out of my head. So, but I think that these are all supposed to be different coverage levels. Like the top one's the most coverage, medium coverage, and lowest coverage. I don't know when that gimmick would ever become useful. I've never in my life thought, you know what? This lightweight concealer doesn't spread out enough. I want one that's just slightly lower coverage. I don't know. I mean, it's not that it doesn't serve a purpose, but it's kind of like when there's this bronzer palette that has like 4 shades in it and one of them is perfect, you know? And you're just like, well, what am I gonna do with the rest of these? I'm not going to wear them. So anyway, I'm gonna go with the fullest coverage guy and put it on with my fingies the way that I would with a Glossier Visage Il Maquillage. Du maquillage? I'm learning Italian, not Francais. Francais is hard. Y'all saw me try and speak Francais, or at least pronounce Francais. I know how to say Il Garazzo mangi alla mela. I just keep repeating that phrase to my husband. And we're like, Uomo beve l'acqua. I know like the first few lessons in Duolingo. That's it. Oh, I had this like weird shower thought this morning where I was like, what if we were born knowing every language that like we descended from? So I could speak like ancient Irish or, you know, whatever Native American language that the Blackfeet Indians spoke, or, you know, Yiddish. My great-great-grandfather was Jewish. I don't know. I think that'd be freaking cool. Some Hebrew up in here, some Italiano. I know I'm German a little bit. Another one of those sitting in a room alone talking to a camera kind of days. So, that is the complexion situation that I end up with Undone Beauty. Like, I guess, like, should we try it? Because I feel like this always ends up the same, right? That we just, you know, hey, that looks nice. It's sort of dewy. It's becoming evident that lots of brands are figuring out how to formulate these kinds of products at this point. What if, you know, I take the lightest coverage one on a brush? Oh, well, maybe that's the heaviest coverage one. They really don't make this very clear. If that's the case, I just remember that being the case, and like, why in the heck? Yeah, I actually think I was using the lightest coverage one that whole time. So the bottom one is the highest coverage one. Interesting. Well, now we get to see. So, boo! Boo! If you guys don't watch my stories, you might not know, but, you know, we moved to an absolute wonderland, and we have a family of deer that live on our property. They just chill in our yard, like 8-10 of them, like at all times. And so our dog always has something to be distracted by or bark at. But it's funny because our dog kind of looks like a deer, so we always just go, family? Is that my family? Oh my God, you guys, I have to go change my shirt. I'm burning up. What is going on? Oh, you know, I think I just realized I meant to order their water bronzer, but I didn't. We will have to just do that in a future video. All right, I am really not sure that that is what that product is meant to do. It is very built up on my skin and it feels a little bit greasy, especially where, I don't know, I seem to be having a hot flash. Okay, so that's, I guess, my actual complexion situation. So I am actually going to use this powder because why not? I did buy it. And yeah, we're gonna use this brush right here. I got this in the shade 510 Light. That is very mattifying. I was hoping to get a little bit more luminosity out of it, you know? I was hoping it would have a little bit of a texture that matched the overall aesthetic here. I'm literally, guys, I think I'm having a hot flash. Oh my God, am I pregnant? Like, what? What's going on? Ugh. Ew, my under eyes still aren't covered. I hate that. I hate when powder makes concealer go translucent. Sometimes that happens. I haven't seen that happen in a long time. Okay, so that is how it looks on my skin. We're dealing with, even with all that built up, you know, with the foundation and the concealer, medium coverage at best, and that is pretty much what I would expect. I would not expect full coverage from this. It's called Undone. You're not supposed to look totally done. But we're going to go in with the Lip to Cheek palette, and I think that this does the same thing because it's got the same little metal bars all the way down. So this is the shade Poppy, which is funny because I think of poppies as being a very orangey red, and that is not the color of any poppy I've ever seen, but it's fine. We're gonna let it go. I'm not trying to be too critical. That's just not how I think of poppies. I'm dipping my brush in here, kind of across the whole thing, because I'm sorry, unless you're putting this on with your fingers, which, I mean, like dibbity dabbing, you're not going to be able to isolate just the lowest coverage or just the highest coverage one. So I'm just pretending that they're all the same. I did a self tan yesterday and it was an all out fiasco since I moved. I can't find my mitt and I did it with my hands like I did back in high school before either they invented mitts, you know, in the Mesozoic era, or I just didn't know that mitts existed. I don't know. But I thought that it was going to be a horrible, horrible mess. And you know, my wrists are not ideal. They're not ideal, but I managed to get it out from between my fingers and all of the weird spots that I thought that I had screwed up. They're fine. So I'm not sure I'm particularly tan, but it was a much lower stakes situation than I thought. I was walking around looking like the High Sparrow thinking, I'm going to get laughed out of town the next time I'm on camera. All right. Now, if a lot of you just grimaced when I put a cream product on top of powder, it's really not that big of a deal. If you're careful with it and you just, you know, especially if it's really light coverage, even if you push the makeup around, it's not a complete deal breaker. You know, it's not a face ruiner. But also, if you are really careful, it can be super beautiful and it fades less quickly. So I think my face is probably less likely to eat that. I should have gotten the bronzer. That is the last I'm going to belabor it, but I'm gonna go in with my Fenty cream here because I can. The only thing I would not do is go cream powder, cream powder. I wouldn't now put a powder bronzer on top of a cream layer of blush. Not to say that you couldn't, but you start to get into challenging the limitations of gumminess territory. It all depends on what the products are. Now, I'm gonna go in with this eyeshadow situation here, and I didn't realize these are really cool. Wow, they're creams. I thought that they were going to be powders just by the way that they look in the pan and online. I don't know, where I was shopping, they didn't have any good swatches of this stuff or showing it on people's skin. They just had pictures of the products, and so that was what I was going off of. I'm gonna try and just get an eye look out of all of this, but it is kind of like a midnight blue, which it could be great or it could be awful on my skin. And the other option was extremely warm, and so I wanted to go for something that leaned a little bit cooler, just because I knew even if that navy doesn't work for me, like those two are definitely gonna work for me. So I'm gonna start with the middle one. It's a pretty bronze shade, like a cool, maybe just neutral, greeny kind of bronze. And I have learned that with me, you just take a one and done shadow all the way up to my eyebrow. And that is the best way to start. Very pretty color. It is like the exact same texture though, just with a different pigment feeling to it. It's like a little bit, you can almost feel a little bit of like the glittery pigment to it. It's exactly the same across the board as the concealer and the blush. So I don't really feel like there's a lot of innovation happening here, especially since I reviewed these products 2 years ago and they're exactly the same. But I mean, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I totally understand that mentality. But if the eyeshadow is the exact same texture as the concealer, its likelihood to crease is pretty high. So I'm using that pearl shade on my brow bone. Woo, your girl is back in the land of needing to tweeze her eyebrows. So this has a ton of payoff, that pearl shade. And it's a little bit icy. This whole thing is a little bit kind of neutral to cool. Okay, and then we are getting into a very, very shiny territory here. I'm going to take and just tap my finger in that midnight blue and see if that works as a crease shade. No, I do not like that. I do not like it, but you know what the patron saint of beauty reviews, Tati, always says? If you make a mistake on one side, you gotta make it on the other side. So just gonna try and blend more of the bronze shade in there to cover up my mistake, because I don't like that navy on me, navy gray charcoal kind of color. But these are super, super slippy, so you can just move them out of the way. I'm still very annoyed though that the concealer underneath my eyes disappeared. I think we established that the bottom one is the one with the most pigment, so I'm just gonna go back in with that for the third time. But that's something that happens with Glossier too, is that my face eats Glossier Stretch Concealer. I feel like when Undone first came out, they were one of the very few brands on the market besides Glossier that was doing textures like this, because at the time, 2 years ago, I mean, what, that's only 2019, right? But you do remember a time where we really had the expectation, or I guess the first priority for buying makeup was wear time. And that has become so different now. I watched Snitchery's video, everything, all of her titles are clickbait. God bless her. I love her videos and she's very good at getting me to watch them, but all of her titles are clickbait. And she's like, the beauty industry is dead. The beauty industry as we know it is dead. And it was talking about Becca and how the culture around buying tons and tons and tons of makeup is dead, and that you can't make a lot of looks out of lightweight makeup because people only want to own a few products, and you can't be creative with low coverage. And I'm like, that's where I gotta stop you, girl. Okay, we are always in search of the next beautiful formula and the next thing that makes our skin look like skin. And, you know, I don't think that there should be an insatiability there, and I don't think that I promote an insatiability to that on my channel, but I do disagree that just because makeup isn't about all matte long wear, you know, highlighted to the gods anymore, that you can't be creative with it. I definitely found my way with makeup and found so much more openness to creativity when I discovered the fact that makeup didn't have to be long wearing, and that I can create with cream, and that it's not going to melt off my face in 5 minutes. It's just gonna probably wear in instead of wearing off. And, you know, I'm not going to reapply anyway, so who cares, you know? I can still be creative with low coverage makeup was my point. So anyway, I want to set this eye situation with something. It kind of reminds me of when I put the Melt Cosmetic stuff on my eyes, because that's just meant to be blush, but this is meant to be eyeshadow, and I would never wear this just on its own because it feels like a lip and cheek. It feels balmy, 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 and like that's not something that I think is going to agree with an eyeliner or a mascara for that matter. It just doesn't feel like it's going to stay put at all. Kackie, are you always going to pull out your Pat McGrath palette? Girl, I spent $125 on it. You bet I'm gonna keep using it. So this shade right here is about the most similar. So I'm gonna do a little bit of that. Yeah, I consider that eyeshadow palette a little bit of a fail, and that's why I'm just kind of covering it up. Oh, and I did have a recent discovery, and that was that the Pat McGrath shadows work beautifully wet. I mean, you would hope so, right? If you spend that much money on something. And that's a lot lighter of a brown than I typically work with. So I think that that's also kind of fun. Thanks, Mama Pat. Earlier, I was getting dressed and I happened to look out my back window onto my backyard and my pool, and I saw Bruce, our hilariously half feral black cat, hauling Heine around the pool, trying to make a break for our tiki bar. Yes, we have a tiki bar in our backyard. His house is amazing that we bought. It's incredible. Closely behind him is my husband hauling Heine, chasing the cat. It was so stinking funny. And he's just cussing up a storm chasing Bruce, because I guess Bruce made a break for it when he opened the glass door. So funny. Okay, we're going in with the Blink mascara for the first time ever. I take heart in a tubing formula. This is pretty. If this actually really tubes in a satisfying way, what a pretty mascara. It behaves a lot like the Kosas, the Big Clean. Ooh, actually it's clumping. Oh my God, it's clumping. Whoa, it's clumping so much. I need a spoolie immediately. Need to get one of those eyelash combs. Oh no, Blink. Okay, we will try on the other eye and not put so much on. Maybe it's a one layer, let it dry, and do it again kind of mascara. You can feel it pulling on your eyelashes because it's such a thick formula. But I said it behaves like the Big Clean because it's matte. That's the thing about the Thrive, is that it's kind of glossy on the lashes. But this builds alarmingly quickly. And you guys know I have a very high threshold for that because I love the Thrive mascara. And I hear people complain that it builds so quickly that it drives them crazy. This feels like a tube of Thrive that's expired. Like, not, because when you wear one in after about a month, it gets amazing, and that tube will last you 4 months or so before your eyes start getting a little bit itchy because of, you know, bacteria and stuff. But that is different from it feeling expired, like it feeling like it's old in the tube and that it's just really, really clumpy and dried out. Like, that's how this feels, is like it's clumpy and dried out. Okay, so the only thing left is the light on lip, and gosh darn it, sorry. That's a fabulous color. That's a fabulous color. It is not really committing to anything, is it? It's like, I'm pink. That was pink, beige, and peach. It doesn't really know what it is. It feels really good. As a graduate, alumni of Florida State University, I know what garnet is because it's one of our colors, but that ain't garnet, fam. That is just, that's the name of that color, but it's really, really pretty. I would rather wear that than true garnet for sure. Now, the question on everyone's mind, just kidding, it's only on my mind, is how does this look with your Kackie lip liner? Well, to answer your question, let's find out. Okay, no, that's like a really, really pretty color. I like that lip a lot. It's super, super slippy. I like the little tiny applicator, kind of reminds me of the Victoria Beckham lipsticks. It's not as creamy or as pigmented as the Victoria Beckham lipsticks, but the applicator reminds me of it. And it's not like Black Honey from Clinique. It's not like it's a wash that's going to be universal. I think that on some skin tones that wouldn't even show up, you know? But it is just that kind of my lips, but better. To borrow a phrase from everybody on the planet. Alrighty, I'm gonna move y'all out. You can see the full vibe here. I'm like Definitely don't look how I expected to look for so many reasons, mainly because I am like still having a hot flash. But I'm going to talk about the prices, the shade ranges, and then I will give you guys my final thoughts. I feel like an idiot. I'm so sorry that I did not get the water bronzer. It's only $10. That's the one that I like hear the most about and feel like a dummy. So the Lip to Cheek 3-in-1 Cream Palette, she is $14. That's the one we're going to start with here. Uniquely radiant color in 3 separate formulas, sheer, medium, and intensely opaque. Again, I don't know when I would ever need that, but some people might need that. But I kind of feel like you're either going to like the opaque one or you're going to like the sheer one, you know? And then you just kind of are gonna wish you had a whole pan of just that. That's just me being really cynical because I own so many cheek products, so take that with a grain of salt. It comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shades that are all incredibly beautiful. They really are. They are super pretty. And it does go all the way from a tan to an orange to a bright freaking pink to they do actually have a like lavender kind of shade. And that was something that a lot of people were criticizing, and rightly so, about the Melt Cosmetics blushes, was just that even the pinkest ones were going to look orange on some people's skin. They have an unfoundation matte. Woo! How about we try that one and then we get the water bronzer with it? Is that weird to do a matte tint and a water bronzer? I don't know. Do you guys want that? We can do a whole nother Undone part 2. And if this video gets 500 million likes, we'll do it. I'm just kidding, we'll do it. Oh, they have a water highlighter too. Okay, so we're gonna do the Undone Matte Foundation. We're going to do the water bronzer and the water highlighter. How's that sound? The Unfoundation Glow Tint. Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4. That one comes in 17 shades. So it comes in more than the other one. Very interesting that you would put out a new one and it's matte and it has fewer shades in it. I don't really know what that's about. The Conceal to Reveal 3-in-1 comes in 10 shades. Unique 3-in-1 formulation for customizable concealing from sheer to opaque coverage. After using the really full coverage one, I kind of get what they're going for here, but in my case, ate it regardless. Sheer formula for dewy coverage for all over and highlighting. Medium formula, full coverage for under eye circles and all over coverage, and opaque formula, total coverage concealer for blemishes and tattoos. Nah. No, that's not covering a tattoo now. I'm just calling you bluff. Gnarly Charlie is still loud and proud. Good thing I took my pants off earlier. The 3-in-1 Cream Eye Palette is $14. The powder is $12. They have an instant liner. Some of this stuff is just a little bit gimmicky. I feel like it's maybe because they're a little bit more drugstore, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. It's not young, but it's like beginner, you know? Like that's kind of what they're going for. La-doobie-doobie-doo. All right, I think that it is time to move into my final thoughts on my second first impressions of Undone Beauty. What is my hair doing? Why are you like this? I treat you with nothing but respect. Okay, I'm putting myself in a mindset of what if these products cost a lot of money? Would I feel like this was a luxury product experience outside of the packaging? For the foundation, maybe. I feel like the foundation is an excellent dupe for so many other tints out there. It's still $14, but you get 1.13 ounces. You get more in this tube than you get in a lot of drugstore or otherwise foundation bottles. It does a good job. Is it completely unforgettable? No, but there are things that are like 5 times this price that are also semi-forgettable. I would liken this very much to like the CoverGirl one that everybody hated. It's kind of like the Glossier one. It's kind of like the Milk one. It's kind of like the Cushion Foundation from M Cosmetics. Like, you know, they're kind of all really similar. There's sort of a middle ground, and this falls squarely in the middle ground of skin tints. I don't necessarily think it's special, but I also don't think it's bad at all, especially for $14. I wouldn't recommend this necessarily for oily skin. It's very, very dewy, even with powder on. Like, I'm looking at myself right now, and I powdered profusely, and I mean, yes, the creamy areas and stuff, but like, we still ended up with a pretty shiny, dewy face of makeup. The concealer, while I think that this is super gimmicky, I do think that this is super gimmicky, the light, medium, and full coverage of it all. But is the formula very, very nice? Yeah, it absolutely is, and it doesn't do anything wrong that the stretch concealer doesn't also do. And I feel like the full coverage version of it is fuller coverage than the Glossier stretch concealer, and so it kind of wins out in that sense. You know, I'm gonna stop being cynical about the 3-in-1 of it all. It's fine. I just feel like, at least from the blushes standpoint, I would get a little frustrated with that because it's like, I just kind of want one. This, I get it, and that's a whole lot of product. This is funny that are they the same price? Yeah, how funny. So these two things are the same price, but the concealer is way bigger, way bigger. So yeah, this is 3 times as much product for the same price. Interesting. You guys wanna know something really funny? This is more than twice as expensive pound for pound than the Chantecaille blush. How about them apples? This is $116 an ounce, and the Chantecaille blush is $56 an ounce. Always be aware of how much you're getting for your money, okay? That Chantecaille blush, I said, was just an amazing abundance of blush. You get 0.8 ounces in that tube for $45. They gotta make their money somewhere, but I'm saying that in the case of Undone Beauty, they're making it on their lip and cheek. So anyway, I got sidetracked, but final thoughts on the powder is that it's a powder. It really doesn't, it's nothing to write home about. I don't think that you'd be mad if you picked it up, but like, it's just a powder. And this eyeshadow palette is probably my least favorite of all of them, just because it's pretty much the exact same formula, or at least it feels that way, as the other cream products. So it is way, way, way too emollient for an eyeshadow. And so I did have to set it with, you know, Pat McGrath. I'd have to. I chose to, because I would never wear this on its own. And I would say that actually my favorite thing is probably the lip, just because it's such a good color. The light on lip is $10. Them's the facts, fam. I don't want to be cynical. I think that this is a very pretty face of makeup. It reminds me very much of Glossier, the same way that it did the last time that I tried it. And while I value being able to find these kinds of products at the drugstore and have them be really accessible, I think that like half of the magic sometimes is in the pleasure of applying things like this. And these are easy and beginner friendly to apply, but I wouldn't say they're fun. I don't know, they're kind of fun, I guess, but I think fun happens when something has a little bit of nuance to it that like surprises you in a positive way. And all of these were squarely right down the center of good, acceptable products, you know? Not exceptional and nothing that I would complain about, but they are just middle of the road, fine. Fine, 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 compared to what else is on the market right now. So yeah, that is what we're working with. Their shade ranges are really pretty, I will say. I think that, you know, there is something for everybody and they put a lot of thought and energy into that. And it's very pretty, it is. It's just, I just, you know, I go on whether or not I'm excited about it, and I'm medium excited. So that is my review 2 years later on Undone Beauty. And yeah. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're enjoying Dayquil Kackie, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Oh no, that's worse than I thought. That's worse than I thought. Yeah, okay.